told you that the person who knew less than you would do better than you, what would you think? Are you curious as to why? Well, let me ask you one more question. Do you think you know nothing? If this is not your mindset, then you're already wrong. And let me explain why. Well, first, to clear up any confusion, let's start with this. What is the concept of knowing nothing? Well, it's rooted in the idea that true wisdom comes from recognizing the limits of your own knowledge. It's not about being ignorant or lacking intelligence, but rather maintaining a mindset of humility and curiosity. By accepting that there's always more to learn, you stay open to growth and improvement. Now, I'm not telling you to be clueless or stupid. What I'm telling you is that you can't be satisfied with where you're currently at. For example, my clients will often tell me that I seem knowledgeable, or I know what I'm talking about, or I explain things well. But to me, I feel like I don't know a thing. And here's why. The more that I learn, the more I realize that there's so much I don't know. But this is the key. Realizing that there's still so much you don't know, this is where it starts. So now that we're aware that knowing nothing is the key, what exactly is it the key to? Well, it's the key to long-term success and overall improvement. When you embrace the idea that you don't know anything, it unlocks this mindset or desire to learn more than the level that you're currently at. You'll start actively seeking more opportunities to grow naturally. Every time that you learn something new, you get a chance to apply this knowledge and enhance your skills. It's really about approaching each day, each thing as an opportunity to improve instead of being a place that you think you've reached already. Think about it this way. If you believe you've mastered something or you've become proficient enough in something, you might be likely to stop pushing yourself or stop trying to improve. But by acknowledging that there's always more to learn, even in a field that you've been doing for a while, you really keep your hunger for progress alive, and this is where real growth happens. So once upon a time, a friend of Socrates approaches the Oracle of Delphi. And if you don't know who Socrates is, he's just considered one of the wisest men of all time. He was in Athens and he was one of the great philosophers. But he approaches the Oracle of Delphi and he asks her a question. Is there anyone wiser than Socrates? To which she replies, there is no one wiser than Socrates. Upon hearing this, Socrates is puzzled because the only thing that he knows is that he knows nothing. These are his words. So this concept, his concept of knowing nothing and recognizing one's own ignorance is the key to true wisdom. Now that we understand the importance of continuous improvement, we have to talk about humility. In concept, everything is easy, but in reality, it's not easy to be humble, especially when we live in a society that celebrates achievement and status. You know, you go on Instagram and you see people flexing the nice cars, the nice homes, the nice trips, and it's hard to admit that you're not where you want to be or who you want to be. And it really comes down to this pride, this ego. You know, we call it now that man's pride. It's the same reason why you won't ask for directions when you're lost. And that's okay. But when we practice humility, we open ourselves up to feedback and new ideas that are going to help us improve. It'll help you build a deeper connection with others and allow you to acknowledge the mistakes that you've made and learn from them in order to become a better person or the person you're trying to be without constantly trying to defend your ego. So here's an example that you're all going to relate to. You're at work, you make a mistake. Your coworker comes up to you and she calls you out on your mistake. She's in kind of a similar position to you, and she doesn't even call you out in a mean way. But instead of owning up to your mistake, instead of admitting that you made a mistake and trying to learn from it, you play it off or shift blame because you don't want to seem wrong. You don't want to hurt your pride. You don't want to hurt your ego. This is not going to help you improve. It's okay to not have all the answers. You can find them. I've seen people who believe they have all the answers, and usually they're in some of the worst places in life. Learning from others, taking information and reviewing it and re-reviewing it and expanding on it and never being satisfied with it is gonna be the key to improving overall. Embracing humility is really the first step, Because when you embrace humility, then you can finally understand that you do not know everything. And this is going to be the most essential part of growth. Just remember, humility does not diminish our strength. It strengthens it. It enhances it. By staying humble, we create an environment where growth can thrive, not just for us, but also for the people around us. Any advice I could give you on this, if I can only give you one piece of advice, man, diminish your social media use, especially things like Twitter, X now, X, Instagram, all of those type of things, TikTok. They can be really toxic. Obviously, they can be used in a very educational way that improves, but the majority of people don't use it like that. So any advice I could give you is just diminish your social media use. You're gonna be so much happier, trust me. When we embrace humility, when we acknowledge that we don't know everything, we open ourselves up to the challenges of life, but in a way that's geared towards learning and improvement. So the only logical reasoning is that we're going to have setbacks. This is where resilience becomes crucial, because setbacks and challenges can be frustrating. How we respond to these is ultimately going to shape our life. I want to say this. If you come across an obstacle that you're not sure if you can overcome and you give up, where are you? You're right back to where you started. And you have to remember that you started this because you wanted change. And change is not going to be easy. This is where discipline comes in. Discipline is going to be your motivation when you're not motivated. Discipline is cultivated over time. You're not going to be the person you want to be tomorrow. Probably not the day after that either. But you can't get too discouraged from this. When you're frustrated, when you want to give up, you have to remember why you started in the first place. You're not happy in life. You're not satisfied. You want more. The only way you're gonna get there is by taking an uncomfortable path. When we build resilience and discipline, we train ourselves to endure those tough times and emerge stronger than we were before. This is where the result of your character is going to come. You are the choices that you make. You can do it. You can, trust me. If I can do it, then that means anybody can do it. But nobody's gonna do it for you. You have to do it. So I'll ask again. Why will the person that knows less than you do better than you? Well, it's simple. They embrace learning, they adapt to change, and they always seek growth. It's not about how much you think you know. It's about how much you're willing to learn. But all that being said, at the end of the day, I don't really know anything. And that's fine.